What is up, everybody? Renfail here, back again with some more Robin Hood Sherwood Builders, and today we're going to be doing an ultimate beginner's guide to get all of you up to speed on everything you need to know if you're coming into this game for the very first time as a beginner. Whether you're on the PC version or the Xbox version, there's a lot of stuff going on in this game, from the base building to the passive skill management to the active skill management to the RPG component, all the activities you can participate in, the events and everything else. We're going to dive into all of that today, so strap in, get your coffee, we're off to the races. If you haven't already done so, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Daily streams happen here and on Twitch, and we're on everywhere on social media, plus there's a Patreon and a Discord, so hopefully we'll see you there as well. Let's get into the video. Probably the first thing to understand at the heart of Robin Hood Sherwood Builders is that this is a Robin Hood story, which means if you're familiar with Robin Hood lore, then you're going to have an edge up on people who might not know that much about Robin Hood. Now, the good thing is that whether you're a beginner in the Robin Hood lore or you're an expert in the Robin Hood lore, you'll find something to appreciate here. But we start off here in the heart of Sherwood Forest with this base already sort of constructed around us, and we have pretty much, I don't want to say all the familiar faces, but many of the familiar faces that you know and love from the Robin Hood tales. Like here's Friar Tuck, and then over here is Maid Marian over by the cabin where you're going to be spending a lot of your time sleeping and stuff. Little John is around. He's out in the woods right now waiting for us to meet up with him on a quest, but he is in the camp when you first start the game. And you'll come across other familiar faces as you journey through the game, including, of course, your arch enemy, the Sheriff of Nottingham, and the King's Men. And pretty much everything you do in the game world is centered around Sherwood Forest, which, if you go in here to the map, is essentially we have this map here. We have 4 different regions, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later in the video. But this is essentially, we're in the heart of Sherwood Forest, and then out from here we have the various regions and parts of the realm where we can go out and adventure, and of course we have cities and castles and things of that nature to explore as well. But you start off in the heart of Sherwood Forest here in Robin's Village, and you'll be interacting with people and places that you'll be familiar with if you are a lover of the franchise. But even if you aren't, you've probably seen some Robin Hood movies over the years, and you'll know people like Friar Tuck, Little John, Maid Marian, so on and so forth, the Sheriff of Nottingham, Guy of Gisborne, that kind of stuff. So they're all here. Robin Hood Sherwood Builders is at its core a base building game, although wrapped around it is a pretty deep RPG along with a crafting survival simulator. But at the heart of it, of course, is your village here behind us. We see everything from little outline buildings, to our storage facilities, private chambers, and then we can go out the back door here and we see things like, these structures where your merry men live up in the trees, and then out here we've built some structures like a furnace and an alchemy lab and so on and so forth. Now, you're going to need to familiarize yourself with the village management aspect of the game, because everything you do comes back to here. If you want to earn abilities in the game, you have to build facilities over here. So we have these 4 tiers. We have community buildings, we have workshop buildings, production buildings, and decoration buildings. The one we want to pay attention to really quick are the workshop buildings, because this is what allows you to get skills. We'll get into that a little bit later, but you'll need things like the furnace, the blacksmith, the weaving mill, so on and so forth, to be able to build things like the quarry, lumber mill, all those other things, which will help you develop your skills in the game. There's also decorative stuff, so if you want to go in here and do different decorations, you can. Fences, outhouses, posts, wooden pots. There's all sorts of ways you can customize your area as you see fit. But the big thing is going through here and building the things that you're going to need to upgrade your armor, upgrade your weapons, and to be able to upgrade your skills. And all of these things, when you hover over them, require materials and workers and coin. And these are all things that you will find by harvesting in the game, and or by crafting in the game, and or by exploring in the game and finding NPCs and so on and so forth. So the base building management is at the heart of Robin Hood Sherwood Builders, but it is not the only aspect of the game. which is the fact that this is a multifaceted game. It is a base building game at its core, but it is also a crafting survival RPG. So if we go in here to these skill systems, we can see that there is a very rich and deep passive skill system with a skill tree that you'll be familiar with: Path of Shadows, Path of Dexterity, Path of the Blade, Path of Craftsmanship, Path of the Arrow, Path of Endurance, so on and so forth. And you can spec in all the different ways that you want to spec. So you can take points and put them wherever you want, in whatever direction you want. It is a classless game, so it's all about how do you want to play the game. Do you want to be a sword master? Put points in sword. You want to be good with the bow? Put points in bow. You want to be a stealthy guy? Put points in shadow skills. You want to just be a crafter? Go in crafting. All you got to do to get skill points is to level up in the game, which means just going out there and adventuring and completing quests. Now, when it comes to the passive skills, those ones you earn through gameplay. Active skills you earn through building buildings, which we talked about earlier. So you have to build a training grounds to learn sword attacks. You have to build a shooting range to learn bow attacks. And you have to build a trapper's hut if you want to get your senses like tracking and animal detection up. So all of this plays in together in the sense that each one of these systems is sort of interdependent. It's independent of the others, but they're also interdependent to a degree if you want to experience the most out of the game. So as an example, if all you ever wanted to do was just play this game as a crafting survival / village management simulator where you never do quests, that's totally optional, and it's totally a viable way to play the game. You could just go out here into the woods, chop down trees, go to the mines, harvest plants, harvest animals, bring them back, and just expand your village. You could totally do that and never ever do a quest, never lift your sword, never lift your bow. You could do that, other than to maybe take care of some animals, but you would never have to deal with bandits and the king and the sheriff of Nottingham or anything like that. Or if you wanted to focus primarily on being a master bowman and going out and doing quests in the world, you can totally do that and leave the crafting, and village management to someone else. Now, you'll probably start to feel a little bit hindered at some point. Ooh, I need to drink some water before I do anything. Speaking of which, I'm getting a big flashing on the screen, which means, hey, you need to drink some water. I don't have any water equipped at the moment, so let's go in here. Do I not have any? I need to fill some bottles up really quick. Ha ha ha! Drink some water, buddy. We'll craft 2. And then we'll go in here and say, hey, let's move those over here. Let's take that. Let's drink. Kind of important to make sure you are hydrated. And that brings us to the crafting survival element of the game, which is the survival stuff. So in order to survive in this game, you have to eat food and drink water. If you don't eat food and drink water, or drink beers or liquids and things of that nature, you will die. And there are benefits to using food and water. So it just depends on how deep into that you want to go in terms of the liquids and the foods and everything else that are in the game. So right now I just have some very basic, I have water, but there's also things like antidotes, there's Yarrow Potion, which heals you, there's things like ale. It's a 10% instant thirst and health, but it gives me a negative 10% to hunger over time. It lasts for 30 seconds. There's also mead, which is a little more, it's a little different. We have 25% instant health, but a 15% thirst over time and a 15% hunger over time. So it just depends on what we want. Now, I don't have any foods at the moment on me, but I think I have some cheese stashed in my chest over here. So we're going to go grab some really quick so we can take a look at that. Open Robin's chest. I've got chicken and cheese. So we've got roast dough, not chicken, it's roast dough. So I'm going to take that. We also got cheese, but since we got the roast dough, oops, it's just going to move it here. Hang on, I got to get this, get out, go here, do this, and put that on my inventory wheel, and then we can select it, and then now I'm going to eat it. And in the bottom left, you're going to see my hunger bar is filled up a little bit. Let's go ahead and take one more swig of water. And we're now fully hydrated and fully fed, and we should be good for quite some time. But if I want more food, I either need to craft it, buy it, or find it. And if I want water, I need to go to a well, and I need to choose to craft the waters that I need based on how many empty bottles I have in my inventory. Once I've done that, you can then go in here and make sure you've got it slotted to your radial window, and then once it's on your radial, you can go from there. So, definitely don't forget about your food and water. Combat in this game is made up of two different types. You've got your sword play, which you can do just simply by equipping a sword, and you've got basic attacks, you've got spending attacks, you've got parry, and you get more attacks as you level up through the game and build buildings that allow you to train your special abilities. Because remember, this part of the game, if you want to learn the best sword abilities, the best bow abilities and everything else, you've got to come back over here to your village management structure and build the relevant buildings which allow you to train those abilities. But you have a sword and you have a bow here, and both of these do different things. The bow can pin down targets and get them from a distance, but it is slow and targets like to move around a lot. If you're playing on the console, it's a little tricky because there is no aim assist, so you got to get good. A lot of people will choose to use the bow to snipe things at a distance, and then come in, when they get in close, we'll switch up to the sword and go in for the kill. I prefer to try to stay to the bow as often as possible, so my particular way of style of playing is to shoot things with a bow from a distance and then just keep running away, although you can run into things occasionally if you do it that way, so you just got to be conscious and aware of your surroundings. But those are the two combat styles. Combat in this game is not that great. It's the one weak point, I would say, as much as I enjoy all the other aspects of the game. The combat is not its strongest point, but that's okay because it has a lot of other stuff going for it, and it's just one tiny portion of the actual gameplay. Now, when it comes to the actual RPG aspect of the game, you do have some quests, but most of it is related to clearing out regions. You're going to see a quest at the top left where it says, gain reputation in the Barnsdale region. You need to reach 40%. Once you do that, it's going to unlock all the quests, or it'll unlock the main quest of the Barnsdale region, at which point we'll need to speak to Friar Tuck. So what does that mean? Well, the game map is split up into 4 regions. This top right region where we're at right now, which is Sherwood Forest. Then over here, we've got this region. We've got a region to the south of us and a region to the southwest of us. Now, each one of these regions represents a faction area or whatever. And in order to unlock the main quest, you have to get to 40% faction in the region that you're in. Now, I'm in Barnsdale right now, which is this green region, and what I'm supposed to be doing here is reaching 40%. Well, how do you do that? Well, you do that by doing lots of random quests for people you find in the world. Now, I've already picked up all these quests over here at the building, or at the, not the building, but the this Royal Warehouse district area, and this town over here, which I think is called Haven, if I remember correctly. I forget the name of it. Anyway, over here is the town, and we got a bunch of quests from there. And if we go over here into our journal, oops, that's the inventory. I clicked the wrong one. We can see active quests right now is what we have. We have these main quests. What you see is what you get. Get to 40%. And then we have these side quests. Mary's Men's Operation, Threefold Tax for Dying, Free the Hungry, Find the Lost. These are all quests that we will do that are from the Barnsdale region. I'll see, it's Peak District region, the Midlands region, Sherwood Forest region. We're in the Barnsdale region right now. And we're going to go through and we're going to do these side quests, which will eventually get us to 40% for Barnsdale, which will then unlock the main quest for the region, and you go from there. Now, as you run around, you're going to find quests on the map that you can participate in, right? Now, outside of just doing quests, you're also going to find events. Things like rescue someone from being hanged, rescue someone who needs to be escorted. You're going to rob a king's caravan. You're going to find lots of activities that you can participate in. You'll find stolen goods that can be turned in or sold for a profit, depends on if you need faction or coin. And there's also, as you run around in the game world, you're going to find lots of things that you can harvest. So this is one of those things where it's like you can go around, run around the regions. There's a tree up ahead. It's glowing green. That means I can harvest that tree. We would run up there with our axe and cut it down. So there's lots of things to do in the game world and lots of activities, whether you want to do combat, questing, harvesting, or exploration. Now you are naturally going to spend a lot of your time harvesting in the game, which means coming out here and finding trees like this one, or rocks, or mines, or plants that you can harvest. And you're going to be using some type of tool as a general rule. So as to cut these down, you need an axe. And once things drop onto the ground, you're going to pick them up. Once we've picked them up, we move on to the next one. Now, if I want to harvest rocks, I need to have a pickaxe. And we're going to run around. We can look for things on the ground. But also, one of the cool things about the map is that if you bring up the map, well, not the map, sorry. We'll do that one here in a second. I clicked the wrong button. If you click on the map, you're going to get waypoints and tips for things. So like over here, you're going to see these signs representing there's deer over here. But there's also these like pickaxe signs, which means, hey, that's a copper mine over here. And this one over here is a stone mine. Now, these will come through exploration and or talking to people who can tell you that something relevant is over in that area. So if you're going to be doing hunting or if you're going to be doing mining, you're going to be looking at the map and going, hey, there's things over here that I know about, so I should go over there and find deer, and maybe there's some ruins over there. Looks like there's a body of water. Probably I can find things that spawn along the riverbanks, along the edges of that body of water. So pay attention to the tips you're given in the game about where to find various harvesting components, but also pay attention to the map, because this will help you find the areas where you're going to be able to locate the materials that you need to harvest, which you could then use to build buildings, which in turn allow you to learn the best skills in the game for your character. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. Alright, in terms of saving your game, there's only a few ways to do it. One of which is you can come back here to your main building, and you have to go to the bed. And when you're at the bed, you can click on the bed and do a manual save file. And you can choose one here, or you can have more than one. We're going to choose the Barnsdale one, and then it's going to let you choose when you want to wake up. So we're going to say we want to wake up in the morning. So we've done that. Our food and water, we've got a little hungry, a little thirsty. That's one way to do a manual save. The other way is if you go out here to the map and we look for the stable right here. It's this icon right here. It still has some Polish stuff. They're still working on that. It's one of the little things about the release version. Don't worry about it. It's just some tool tips. But the stable master is right here. If it's your first time, so did you see how it just said checkpoint updated on the right-hand side of my screen? That means that the game just saved a checkpoint, and it's because I got in range of a stable. So in the game world, there's two ways to reach checkpoints. One are stables. The other one are these signpost icons on the map. Now, once you have reached a signpost for the first time, you can then use it in the future to fast travel. The same goes for stables. So since I've already been to this signpost over here, I can click it and I will fast travel to it. When I arrive, it will set a checkpoint for me because I've just recently traveled to that waypoint, and it'll automatically save. There is no quick save functionality in the game. You either need to manually travel to a signpost for the first time, or use a fast travel icon to get to a signpost and or stable in order to save your game. Now, if you are wanting to explore the map and you click out and you go and explore around here, as you explore the game world, you will uncover additional areas. You'll find additional signposts like this one over here. You'll also find beds which you can rest at, but the ones you want to pay attention to are the signposts and stables. Now, I have not discovered this stables over here, and it even tells me that I've not done so. says Stable Master, discover to travel. So let's go ahead and set that as a destination. And we're going to turn around and we're going to run down the road really quick so I can show you what that looks like. There's also... Alright, it faded off my map. So we would run down the path here. And when we get to the town, once we get in range of the stable, it is then going to do our autosave, which is the destination. So we're almost there. Hang on. Let's get there. Climb over the fence here. You're also going to see the icon change on the mini-map above me. Right now it's a grayed out icon and it just went highlighted. And the reason it got highlighted is because we got in range of it, and once I get close enough, there it went. It just saved my checkpoint. By the way, here's one of those harvesting nodes we can find along the edge of the river I was talking about earlier. So we would harvest that right there to get a little bit of XP. How do you level up in the game? Well, leveling up can be done in a variety of different ways. First and foremost, if you come down here along the river, harvest reeds, you're going to get some XP. That goes for any harvesting activity you do in the game. So as you run around the game world and you find nodes that you want to harvest, you will get XP for harvesting said nodes. Now I know what some of these nodes look like so we can run around and see them, but what if you don't know how to harvest a node? Well, you can use your hunter senses, which is this right here, and it'll highlight, like that right over there is a node that we can harvest. So your objective here is to run around the world and harvest, but also take out enemies, explore new locations, complete quests. All of these are viable ways to earn XP. And when you earn XP, you progress your level. And when you progress your level, we can go over here to the passive skill system. And you're going to see this thing up here where it shows your level. And right where we're at right now, we're barely into level 6 with this character, so we've got a ways to go. And we have 0 available skill points because we would need to level up to get an appropriate amount of skill points. You're given skill points every time you level. Once you get those skill points, you can use those skill points to buy skills. Skills cost different amounts of skill points, starting off with like, they cost 1 point, and then getting up to the end of a tree where it costs 4 points to earn an ability. Red means we don't have any points available. Green means if it was highlighted in green, it means that we have the points available and we can buy it. But every activity you do in the game, crafting, harvesting, killing mobs, completing quests, exploring locations, all of that gives you XP, which allows you to then level up your character and go from there. Now, if you ever want to check the stats of your character, you're going to need to come over here into the passive skills window. And on the right-hand side, you're going to see where it says Robert of Locksley. And from here, it's going to show your main level, your available skill points, and then it's going to show you your stats, your max energy, energy regeneration, hunger, thirst, etc. The ones that are highlighted are things you've already got access to. The ones that are not highlighted are things we haven't earned anything from or got any bonuses with. And you can down here and see, things like Path of Endurance, Path of the Blade, Path of the Arrow, Path of Dexterity, Path of Craftsmanship, Path of Shadows. This shows us what bonuses we have for the passive skills that we've taken in the game. So I have some max health points. I have some damage reduction. I've got some sword bonus going on. I've got bow damage bonus, bow accuracy bonus, reduction in bow energy cost, a reduction in bow wear. I've got some bonuses to my bow walking speed, my crit chance, my armor penetration, my critical damage, my backstab damage, and deadly arrow damage. And then lots of stuff for my crafting stuff where I do extra mining damage, extra yield chance, tool durability, more inventory slots, I can carry more weight, so on and so forth. This is where you see all of your stats. This is on the passive skills window where you can then scroll around and see all the stats for your character. Don't forget the tutorials in the journal section. If you go through a tutorial and you forget about it a week later, you can always come in here and find them. As a general rule, they're very in-depth. There are a handful of tabs that, as of this recording, still haven't, it's very few, but there are still some that feature Polish language as opposed to English, but it's very few and far between. Most of these are very fleshed out, and you can find everything you need to know about everything in the game, which you will learn through the game anyway. You'll learn through playing, but after if you've accidentally skipped through one or you forgot something, you can come back in here and in the tutorials section of the journal, you can find everything you need to know about, hunting, combat techniques, healthcare in the game, how to build your village, the difference between selling goods versus turning them in for faction, um, picking locks and needing to find ways to get past puzzles and so on and so forth. It's all in here. There's also letters, which are things you can find around the world. Some of them, they'll be like around, like you'll run over here, you'll like go into a building and you'll find a note on the floor, right? That might be one way. But also in the taverns, as a general rule, there's typically like a bulletin board around town somewhere. I've often found them like in taverns where you can go in and find them. Is there a tavern close to where I'm at? Dun, 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 dun. That's the hunter. There it is. Let's go over here. Turn around and go down to the tavern. Because, oftentimes there's just little places where you can find notes and bulletin boards. I guess I'm guessing it's not here. Oops. We can still go in here and just take a peek at what's inside. There's people. You could talk to people. And you just expect the things, because sometimes on the tables you'll find notes of interest and so on and so forth. Also things like the arena, you'll find posters. Ask about the blood card to make your life's fortune. Capable fighters, welcome in the grand tournament. You'll find lots of letters and posters that you can click on. Some are collectible, and when you collect them, they go over here into your journals section, and then they show up in that letters tab. And then you can also go in here and check out the history of what you've been doing in the game since you've played today's session. So you can go through and read all that stuff at your leisure. Anyway, folks, that concludes my beginner's guide for Robin Hood Sherwood Builders. Hopefully you enjoyed. I have been having a lot of fun with this game. It's pretty deep. It is an indie game, so there are some quirks, which we've talked about in my final review, my early thoughts videos, and some of the streams and stuff. But it is definitely a game I think it's worth trying if you love Robin Hood, if you like fun crafting survival games, if you like RPGs, if you like, crafting survival games in general, or base building games. There's a lot going on here. For people who like something familiar and very casual, it's a very chill game. It's not overly complicated. It's not overly difficult. It's just something fun to immerse yourself in and play Robin Hood for a day. So hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Daily streams here and on Twitch at 11 a.m. Central Time. And there's lots of places you can find us across social media, plus the Patreon and Discord. Until next time, everybody, stay safe and happy gaming.